Good morning, everyone. This is Terry Wage, Generator Coaching, and I am running about 20 minutes behind. I've had a full day and I'm attempting to get back on track, but I wanted to stop in and talk about partnerships today. We all have partnerships, whether we're actually getting into them in a contracted way or we're just working with friends or we're in a relationship. Partnerships is all about working together. And it's funny because what I find is even though we're in these partnerships with people, we end up having expectations and we end up having ideas about how they should go. And what ends up happening is we end up disappointed in our partnerships. We end up frustrated with our partners and we end up having challenges in working together. And so I wanted to talk about three keys to having partnerships that work really well, whether it's in your relationships, personal relationships, or your business relationships, or if it's just friends that you're having relationships with. We're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be living this life all alone, solitary, and just trying to get through. We need other people. And a lot of people are like, I work better alone. Well, the reality is we're in partnership with all kinds of people that we don't even think of them as partners. We're in partnerships with the grocery store people who are bringing groceries in. We have to go get groceries, and we're in partnerships with and relationships with people who deliver our gas or deliver our groceries or deliver those things that we have. We all do different jobs, and we all have a part of society, and that is all about relationship and partnership. And what I found is when we have these expectations of how it should go, or we get into relationships before vetting them out, we end up disappointed and we end up frustrated rather than moving forward. So I want to talk about the idea of when we work together, we go further. We can do together what we cannot do alone. And so my first key is vetting out your partner's goals, vetting out who you're hanging out with and what they're doing and how well you work together with them on your ideals, on your goals, on your dreams. Are you guys going in the same direction? Or is the other person having a different idea about where they want to go? A lot of relationships start in the idea that we like each other and we like each other's energy, but we don't talk about what we want in life and we don't talk about where we're going or what are things that we really think about are or what we really want to move towards. And so we get into the relationship and then realize, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road that it doesn't work. Sometimes we realize right away that it doesn't work. I was in a relationship back in 2000 and I really liked this person when I met them, and then it didn't work out so well, and I knew it quite early in the relationship. However, I was telling myself this story that I committed, so I need to stay, and I stayed in the relationship for way too long, and we were on different paths from almost the very beginning. But I kept telling myself that things would change or I need to change or if it would just get better instead of realizing that we were on the wrong path. And so really being honest with ourselves about our goals, our desires, where we want to go, what we're really looking for in the partnership or relationship, then we can actually choose a little wiser. And then two is really, so I spaced out. So one is vet out our partners. Vet out what they want and what we want and make sure we're a good match. We really want to make sure that we're on the same path. And it doesn't have to be 100%, but if you're completely different for each other or you butt heads way too much, maybe you could have a friendship, but it's probably not a good partner for you. And two, be of service to your partner. Be of service in your relationships. And what I mean by that is a lot of times what I've seen, especially when I've worked with couples, because I've had a long experience with couples in relationships and partnerships, and one person is expecting a whole lot of the other person, but not contributing the way that they could or the way they know they could. And they're not talking about it and they're not really doing it, but they're expecting the other person to, and then they'll contribute. And so what it really is this idea of being of service to your partner. How can I add to the situation? How can I add to your life? How can I bring you forward towards what your goals are? And how can I help you meet what you're looking for? Whether it's a relationship or a partnership in business, or it's just friendships, how can I be of service? The old joke is, people with trucks are only good for moving. And the the reality is if I'm a person that has a truck and a friend of mine needs help with that, I can step up. I can go and help. I can do these things for those people. And the more that I do that, the more I get back, because there's a spiritual law, so to speak, that you reap what you sow. You get back what you give. And so in our partnerships, the more we give and the more we're of service, the more we're going to get. Now, there's a flaw in that thinking, because if we think that I'm going to try to get something by giving, now we've messed up the whole law, because it's not for free. It's not for fun. We're doing it with a motive. And so it's really about being of service because you care about the person. It's being of service because you really want to see that person succeed, and you're doing it because you care. Then things come back to you. But if you're doing it so that it's a little chit, or it's a little marked down that, hey, I did this. I actually had my experience when I was a kid. My mom would be like, I'll do the dishes. And then she'd go mark it on the calendar that she did the dishes. And then she'd be upset when nobody else did the dishes. And it's funny, because that's not really partnership or relationship. That's holding other people accountable. And, I hear a lot of people talk about accountability, and I think it's a good thing for us to be accountable to ourselves. But when we start holding other people accountable, what we are is we're having this standard, whether the other person decided they wanted to do it or not. We're having this standard and we're telling them that they have to meet it. And that doesn't really work for relationships. That actually can really separate us, and we don't know it. And so what I teach actually is a personal responsibility to be of service and to step up and to do what we say because we want to, for free and for fun, not because we're being held accountable. And again, I think accountability is a great thing for me to be accountable to what I say. However, I think it's really about personal responsibility also to be of service to those people who you agree to do business with, to have a relationship, to be connected to. And the more that we are, the more we get out of the relationship, because we get fed when we're being of service. They say that, I have a friend that long time ago, he helped me do a lot of growing and a whole lot of changing. And I used to talk about having to take care of myself. And he's like, it's not your job to take care of you. It's God's job to take care of you. You are to be of service to all of the people around you, and then you will be taken care of. And so it's a spiritual idea of being of service to the people around us. If we care about them, be of service. And then the third thing that we're talking about today, the third key, is continuous open communication. The more we're open with what's going on with us, with what we need or what we want and why we want it, and at the same time, when things aren't working out, what's going on with us that we're not happy, that we're not feeling extremely enthused about what's going on, to be able to talk about the expectations we had, whether they were supposed to do something or not, how we felt that disappointment went when it didn't work, or how we felt like we thought we had communicated when we made a mistake, and owning the mistakes. And I talked about communication a little bit yesterday, and the idea of owning our mistakes and making amends when we make a mistake, and forgiving when the other person made a mistake. And so this goes right back to what we talked about yesterday with communication. Partnerships are all about communication and having those expectations laid out. Not as in, if you don't do it, I'm going to be mad at you. But if you don't do it, there must be a reason why it didn't happen. So we can talk about it, problem solve in a good way, and strategize on how we can move forward together. Because it's all about everybody working together for the greater good, for the greater good of our relationships, for the greater good of our businesses, for the greater good of our friendships, and the greater good of just having a good time with people that you care about and love. And so this open communication and partnership is all about being more open and more connected and seeing how we can work together. And so, again, we're going to talk. Number one, vet out your partners. Make sure that you guys really work together and it's not just a flash in the pan kind of, oh, I like them for a second, and then I realize that we're totally not on the same wavelength. Are our ideals in line? Is our direction in line? Is what we want for our future similar to what they want? Because if it's wrong, we're going in the wrong direction. And then two, being of service. Stop waiting for the other person to step up. You step up, and when you step up, they will follow. And that's what leadership is all about. Stepping up and being a leader by being of service. I'm not doing very well with the number ones and twos and threes. However, not that big a deal. Remember, number two, be of service and step up, walking through what you want to have done. And we're not doing it out of an animosity or a frustration because the other person isn't stepping up. It's just, you know what? They must be struggling, so I can step in and help. I can ask them what they need to have done so that we can do it. Christine had a little bit more going on her plate today than I did. So I said, you know what? I'm running behind too. We're both running behind, but I can step up and do this Facebook Live while you take care of some of that other stuff. And so I'm of service, doing our best to stay to what our word is. And we're a little bit late, but we're getting it done and we're doing it together. Sometimes separating to get more done is what we need to do. And so we're of service in that way to each other. And it really feels good when I can do this, or when she steps up when I'm busy and I can't take care of it. And we love to do it together. We love to be on here together and share with you guys. And so it's all about being of service in that second point. And again, the third point is really communicating honestly and openly. And I was talking to Christine before we started today, and I'm like, can you do it? And she's like, no, I'm really bogged down with this other project that I have to do, and I just can't get to it. And I said, you know what? I'll step up. I'll do it. And no problem. You take care of what you do so you're feeling good about where we're at. And I'll do this part. And we just divide and conquer. And we learn that that really works for us in some cases. In some cases, we really like to do some things together. And so really, it's the continuous open communication and not holding against somebody when they can't do something, because they have reasons and their reasons are good. They might not be what you want, but allowing them to have that and allowing them to be where they're at is really important in partnerships, because we grow together. And so if you're having trouble with partnerships, if you're having problems with your relationships, and you want to understand more about these points and what you can do to right your relationships and move into that growing together kind of thing, reach out to us. GeneratorCoaching.com. Let's talk. Reach out, connect with us, and we'll see how we can help you. And follow us on Facebook, GeneratorCoaching.com, or that's my website, but Facebook.com/GeneratorCC. And so we will see you tomorrow, 10:10. We should be on time tomorrow. However, things do come up as we're getting busier and busier. So we will see you tomorrow. Super excited to have you following us and having you interact with us. And any comments, leave the comments below. Let us know that you're interested in what we're talking about. Let us know your experience. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:10. Generator Coaching, Terry Waite. Good to see you.